Hey everybody, this is our welcome video. You do not see my face on this because my camera is broken. I hope to get that fixed someday, but it's not cheap. So we are going to talk about what you need to do to get started with our class and kind of to give you some hopefully some helpful hints, I suppose. So first, as you can see up here, I am logged into this as a learner. So what you see here hopefully looks very familiar to what you see on your own screen. If you click here, this hopefully is what you see on your screen as well. Now, if you look here to the left, you will see a lot of stuff. And if you go here, you'll see these 4 modules, and then you click here, and you'll see some things are here, but you won't necessarily be able to submit things, especially once you get here, and here, and here, and that's because the EVA is not complete. If you run into this issue and you can see all of these things up here, but you can't do anything else, it's because you haven't done this thing. So pause this and go do that EVA, because without the EVA, you're not going to be able to do anything. And if you don't do the EVA, by the due date, which as you can see is May 27th by midnight, if you don't do it by then, I have to kick you out of the class, and that's no good. So let's put it back as this is how I see it, so it might look different for you. Up here, you'll see there's a number of things that you can click on to get to the places you want to go in the class. You can go here and that'll take you to the course home, which that's the way to get back there if you're somewhere in this in the class and you kind of forget where you're going. That's one way to get back here. This right here will take you to the general content area. So you'll always be able to get to the stuff that you need to get to if you just click on content, and it'll kind of refresh and bring up this stuff. Here's grades. I don't know how that looks for you. I hope that that's accessible. Please email me if it's not. And here's the syllabus. Yeah, I was afraid it was going to do that. What it's going to do is pull up. This is going to look a little different for you, possibly. Oh, maybe not. Hopefully this is what you see. This is how syllabi are going to look from now on for Central Piedmont. You no longer have to deal with different PDFs or, what have you, everybody doing things differently. The way that they're doing things now, the syllabus for everybody in the English department looks the same, and it's all got the same stuff in it, other than, things that are specific to that class. So it ostensibly is going to be easier for everybody to kind of get their heads around. So let's start up here at the very top. This is the class we're in. Hopefully this is the number that you see associated with your class. This is me. This is the best way to get me. If you call this number, that's just the English department, and that's not really going to be helpful because I'm an adjunct, and so I am not on campus all the time like a faculty member, a full-time faculty member would be. I am at a number of different schools. So if you need to reach me, use my email and pay attention to the information that's in the How to Email a Professor video, because it tells you exactly what you need to do. These are the folks that that are kind of like my bosses. The department chair is Dr. Meddy. The associate dean is Dr. Robinson. So if you need to speak with either of them, feel free to do so. I know they're very happy to hear from students, but if it's specific to this class, you want to reach out to me first and then to them, because probably I can fix whatever problem you're having. unless it's something really outrageously difficult. Okay, so here's some more information about our class, the prerequisites, etc., etc. This is all online. You will not be required to come to class at all. You'll be required to watch some videos, do some work online, do some reading online. Your textbook is included in the online course, and I'll show you how to get to that. Here's the census date, meaning if you haven't done the EVA or some form of work in the class, but specifically the EVA, you are going to get out of here. If you wake up on the 28th and you haven't done that, you've been kicked out of the class. So please do it. Also make note, and this is just something you should make note of in every class, what's the last day that I can get out of this class with a W? What's the last day I can get out of this class without taking an F? Is there, if you run into problems and you think, okay, I can't, there's no way I can finish this class, make sure you decide that before this date, because after this date, you're stuck. And what you're going to get is an F, if you don't turn in the work and that sort of thing. So make sure that you jot that date down on your planner. As this is a fully online class, I will be allowing work to be submitted through the published final day of class, which is 7/17. After that date, however, I will no longer be accepting any work, period. There's no wiggle room there. 7/17 is the cut off. Please write that date down as well. After 7/17, you no longer can submit anything, and I don't care what the reason is. If you have, some life-altering situation that prevents you from submitting all your work by the 17th, tell me, and we'll give you an I. And you can submit that work, and it just requires a little bit of paperwork, but it's better than you sending me an email and saying, well, I couldn't do it on time, so here it is. That's going to get you, an F. So don't do that. But make note of that date and, know that that's something that's chiseled in stone. Here are the outcomes. Please also be aware that there is a basic needs statement here. If you run into issues securing food, housing, or any other basic human needs, and you think that this might affect your performance, which, of course it would affect your performance. I've had students come to me and say they're going to be homeless. They're trying to get away from their abusive spouse or partner, various things. They've lost their job, that sort of thing. The school does not want you to leave and drop a class just because of these life situation things that are going to be, that can be very devastating. So they have in the wellness center, they have a group of people who are there to help you with this, including, cash-based, grants or loans or what have you. So please don't just jump directly to, okay, this terrible thing has happened, I need to drop all my classes. Go talk to somebody here first. I think it's very unfortunate that we have a world in which this is something that we need to do as a school, but, we should look out for other people. We should look out for each other because it's the right thing to do. And it's part of the social contract. Okay, so course evaluation, assessment, and requirements. This is the bread and butter. This is the important stuff. We are going to write 3 workshopped formal academic essays. The first one is worth 20%, and it's a compare and contrast. It's a compare or contrast. The next one is a cause and effect, and it's 20%. And the final essay is argumentative, and it's researched, and it is worth 25%. The in-class participation is worth 15%, and the remaining points are spread out amongst the rough drafts, quizzes, homework, and classwork, which, since we're online, homework and classwork are pretty much the same thing. If you don't submit all of the essays, you will not pass the class, period. That's just how it is. You have to turn in all the essays. You can choose not to turn in a rough draft if you like, but you just won't get the points for it. Here's the grading scale, and it's the same as, all the other grading scales for Central Piedmont, I think. If you feel like there's a problem with your grade and you contact me and you don't feel like I've addressed your issue, or you still think that there's a problem, there is a way to appeal your grade. There are dates associated with this, so you can't sleep on this. You can't wait 10 years and say, hey, I'm not crazy about that C I got in my first writing class. No, you can't. People have tried that, believe it or not. So if you feel like you need to appeal a grade, make sure that you do it in a timely fashion. Makeup. Here we go. Makeup and missing work. I want you to read through this thing yourself. I am going to read parts of it to you. It's not because I think that you're not smart. It is because certain parts of this are super important, and I want to make sure that you know that they're there. I understand that things happen, and sometimes we just simply cannot get the stuff done that we need to get done. I have that happen to me too. And it's not outside the realm of possibility that, I might say to a class, I wasn't able to get your papers graded when I expected to. And things that fall within this category are things like, I forgot to do that essay. I forgot to submit that rough draft. My computer crashed. My internet was out. Life has been really busy. They scheduled me at work. I went to jail. These are all things that fall within the, I'm not going to be able to do all this stuff. You don't have to request my permission to turn the work in late. You certainly may do so. Please consider this a blanket allowance to do late work. Did you hear that? This is a blanket allowance for late work. Emails asking permission to submit late work will refer you back to this portion of the syllabus. You may choose to submit your work late. However, as with all choices in life, there are always repercussions. Good, bad, or indifferent. I will accept late work of the major essays, but with some caveats. Should you choose to submit work late, the following things need to be taken under consideration. For each calendar day the work is late, the grade drops by 5 points. So if you submit a major essay 2 days late, an A is no longer within the mathematical possibilities. You might see in your rubric that it says, oh my gosh, I got a 98 on this thing. But then the grade in the grade book says 88, and you're going, what has happened? It is because it was late. After 5 days from the due date, you can no longer do this. After 5 days, we have moved on. You are taking a summer class, which means that you are prepared for this to move at somewhat light speed. It's definitely a shorter class than going during a regular semester, so we have to get more work done than a regular semester. We have to do that in more work in a smaller amount of time. So please remember this 5-day limit. If you have gone over 5 days, you will go visit that area and try to submit the work, and it will no longer allow you to submit work. And that's because those 5 days have passed. If the assignment has been closed, it is no longer available for you to complete. Don't ask me to reopen the assignment because the answer is no. Now, obviously, if you have had some kind of life-altering event that is completely out of your control, the death of a loved one, an immediate family member, a car accident, God forbid, hospitalization, God forbid, this does not apply. And, email me, tell me what's going on, we'll work together. However, if it falls within these things up here, no. Low stakes or no grade work is not eligible for this policy. Those assignments are worth very few points. Therefore, 1 or 2 missed opportunities really won't impact your grade. However, repeatedly missing them will. Late work does not get the same priority in terms of grading as current work, which, if you think about it, makes sense. Everybody who turned in their work on time, I feel more of an urgency in getting their work returned to them quickly. So if you turn work in late, please don't expect it to be graded and turned around immediately. It goes to the bottom of the stack. Again, this is important. Finally, if you have a life-altering event that is out of your control, this policy does not apply. Meaning, I will be flexible. I will help you out. I will do everything I can to make the navigation of a difficult life event a little easier. If you have an event outside of your control, I will need some written confirmation, that's called CYA, of the event, and if necessary, you may choose to take an incomplete in the class, which is not a bad thing, because if you just submit the work, that makes the incomplete go away. If you need to discuss this with me, please let me know. We will talk about it. Please make sure that you regularly do, at the bare minimum, regularly do the attendance quizzes. Every week there is a reading/attendance quiz. That's what I look at to make sure that you have attended quote unquote class. That's what I use to determine, was this person actually in class? That's what I look at when I submit attendance to the school. If you disappear, if you ghost the class, meaning if I don't hear from you for a week, if you don't do any quizzes, if you don't do any work in the class, and by the way, it does not mean you just log into the class. It means if you do not actually go to the coursework in Brightspace and do something, some sort of assignment, submit some sort of written work. Please know that if you do that for a week, you're out of the class. You'll have to be marked stopped attending, and that's not good. You can't continue attending or working on the course. You might continue to submit things and wonder why they're never graded, and that's because I can't grade them because you have stopped attending. Stopped attending is final unless you can provide documentation of extenuating circumstances. The school feels like it's super important that you actually attend class. I know that sounds crazy, right? But it is. It's super important that you watch the videos and you do the work. Things are a little different when we talk about military service, when we talk about religious observations, that sort of thing. Let me know if this applies to an absence. Let me know ahead of time, and I will be happy to mark you correctly. Let's see. We expect you to follow the student code of conduct, and please don't plagiarize. We will talk about this at length. You do not want to use AI. You do not want to plagiarize. We'll talk some more about this. You should prepare yourself as you move through college now, as AI continues to be so prevalent and continues to grow in popularity. Prepare yourself that you will probably be accused at some point in time of using AI, because it is not an exact science, because it's not no matter what anybody tells you, the checking, if you look up here at the top of my screen, you can see I use things like Zero GPT, and it's not a perfect tool, and I use other ones as well. They're not perfect tools, but we will talk about ways to make sure that if someone says, hey, did you use AI on this? Did you run this through, Chat GPT? if somebody says that to you, I hope that you will be able to show them that you actually wrote the essay. And if that happens with us, if I contact you and say, gosh, this came back as being a lot of artificial intelligence writing, and, can you talk to me about your process? One of the things I'm going to expect you to do is to show me that you actually wrote the essay. And there are various ways you can do that, and we'll talk about that some more in class. Here's the notice of non-discrimination, disability and access services, withdrawals. Like I said, make sure you do this, write this down, so that if something happens, you know what the deadline is. Here is the English department policy on plagiarism. Please make sure that you have reviewed it. I expect that you will use your own good brains to do this work. I understand the temptation to use AI is huge. The temptation to plagiarize is huge, especially if you're under the gun and you're not entirely sure what you're doing. I get it. I understand that. And honestly, I don't know what I would do if I was a student right now and I was tired and really didn't care about an essay, and just all I have to do is plug something into ChatGPT and there's my essay. Gosh, that's bloody tempting right there, man. So I don't know how I would deal with that as a student, but I do have to figure out how I will deal with it as an instructor. And I have to stay within the boundary of what the school says for me to do. And the school takes this sort of thing extremely seriously. So please know that I am much more interested in what you think as opposed to what some stupid AI thinks. I am interested in your thoughts, and the only way you're going to get good at expressing those thoughts is practice, and that's what this is. So that is our syllabus, and as you can see, you can jump to various places in the syllabus, using this stuff on the left. You can always get there by clicking on that. I hope that I know that we've had problems with that link last semester. Hopefully they've got it. I understand they've got it sorted out. We'll see. So email me if you run into a problem. Okay, so let's go here to content. Now, I am assuming you have taken the EVA and you have gotten a big fat 100 on it, and you have gone through and reviewed as much of this stuff already as you can. As you will see, there's a lot of these things that have due dates, and basically that's the first Sunday of the class is May 25th, and the weeks run from Monday to Sunday. So work for this week is due on Sunday the 25th. And I mark these things as being due, but all you have to do is open it up. So I want those things to show up for you on the calendar. I want you to know that they are there. And I know that it's very easy to jump onto a website and go straight to the stuff that you need to do. And that can be real easy to do, especially when you're in a hurry. But I want you to take a second and at least click through the things that are available. So this is a little bit of information about me. That's me right there. And there's some links here that you can look at having to do with, my professional website and that kind of thing. Here's my email address. Here's additional information about departmental contacts. So just know I don't have official office hours because I have no office. I'm an adjunct. And also, this is an online class. So if we need to meet, we certainly can. We can do it by Zoom or whatever it is that the school uses. Just let me know. Here's where you get to the syllabus for a PDF of it. If you want to download it and have it on hand, this is where you go to get it. Here's your schedule. So this is by weeks, and hopefully you can see over here on the right hand side the things that you need to do are all in bold, and dates are here and that sort of thing. Everything is due unless I say otherwise somewhere. Generally speaking, things are due on that last day of the week, which is Sunday. And then the next week starts at 12:01 that following day, Monday. So all of these things are due on June the 1st. All of these things are due on May the 25th. So it goes that way. If you see like this right here, submit checklist, I've taken the checklists and the self-assessment assignments out, but I haven't updated this yet. So by the time you see this video, your calendar might look a little different. You can print this out if you want to have it on hand so you can check things off, which I'm one of those people who likes to have a list and then you can check them off. But, you know, to each his own. I make note here that there is a quiz specifically for attendance taking purposes every week. It's not listed necessarily here, but I have tried to list it in a couple of places on in each week's information, and we'll get there. But this tells you the different readings you have to do and the different videos you need to watch and that kind of thing. The readings are found here, oddly enough, in the textbook, which you have bought and paid for through your tuition fees. So you would click that link and you'll see this, and if you click this, it will take you to, eventually, it'll take you to the textbook. And you can do all sorts of things with the textbook. You can create flashcards. You can make notes and highlights. You can copy certain parts of the text. You can jump around. You can click here, and this gives you the content, the table of contents. And if you put bookmarks in the text, they'll show up here. But as you can see, all you have to do is click on that information, and it's going to take you to that part of the book. And then here are the individual chapters. So that's how you get there. It's under course information. If you have issues with the textbook, this is where you go for help, or the bookstore, but this is probably the best place to get started. Here are your student policies and procedures, your resource links having to do with things that you might want to know or need to know, etiquette guidelines, that sort of thing. Here's the how to email a professor link. Here's the video that hopefully you've already seen. There's that EVA thing. Make sure you get that done. And here's where you go to get your coursework. Module 1, preparing to write. Now, as you can see, you open up a module and then there's a topic, or possibly two. If you open up the topic, that's going to give you the individual bits that you have to do. So down here within the description of the topic, you'll see kind of an overview of what's going to be going on that week, some of the things we'll be talking about and that kind of thing. Right here is a list of the things that you need to do. As you can see, this looks very similar to the stuff that's on that calendar. And right here we've got the reminder about the EVA quiz. This will count as your attendance for the week, obviously. If you don't do that, like I said, you're going to get dropped from the class. Please don't let that go. So this is where you go for each of those individual pieces that you need to do to complete the work for the week. Now, topic 2 has to do with plagiarism, and it is just very similar to topic 1. You'll see links, and you'll see, here's a couple of tutorials. Here's a quiz having to do with plagiarism and citations. And then here's your attendance quiz. Each one of these quizzes is worth 100 points, and it's open for the entirety of the week. Once the week passes, you can no longer take the quiz. That's largely because it is for attendance, meaning if you don't take it during that week, you're not present for that week. So please do those things. I've tried to make them fairly straightforward, lots of true, false, that kind of thing. You'll need to be able to access the week's classwork, but you won't necessarily need to have done it. You just should be able to open up the link and look at some of the information there, and probably you'll be able to take this quiz pretty fast. Some of these quizzes have 2 questions. Some of them have 10. It just kind of depends. So I think that probably what I will do is open up everything and make all of it available, since we are in the summer, and I know that it's a short semester, and for some people they might want to, go somewhere and have a life and a vacation, and might want to do their work ahead of time. And if that's the case, I want you to do that. That's a good thing. So I will open all of these things up to you so that you can access them. As they are right now, you won't see those because I've got them blocked off and hidden from you. Actually, I don't have them hidden. They come that way. That's the way the school set it up. I'm not crazy about that, so I'm going to take that off. So you can see this is where all of your work lives, and you will have attendance quizzes that deal with the readings. For instance, this topic 3, compare and contrast rough draft, I made use largely of this. Chapter 20 when I was creating that quiz. So the readings, the websites, the videos, that kind of thing are going to be things that you want to at least have access to so that you can take the quiz to show that you were in class. Oops. So I believe that that's everything we need to discuss for our welcome video. If you need help, please email me and I will be happy to help you. Don't forget to put your information in the Ray line. Don't forget to follow the things that I said in the How to Write to a Professor video. I will do my best to always email you when I have finished feedback, when I have finished, doing things like, grading and that sort of thing. So hopefully those notices will come through okay, the emails will come through okay, and you'll get that heads up that says, hey, we're going to be doing this thing or that thing. I don't think there's anything else. If you have issues, please let me know, and I will be happy to work with you to get those issues taken care of. I'm looking forward to this semester. I know it's going to rock. I can't wait to hear all the different things you're going to want to write about, and I hope that you have a wonderful semester.